Despite my family history, I can't help but mismanage my own funds from time to time. My father was an accountant for his entire life. You don't have to know English to know numbers, he once told me. In June 2007, my parents were the happy owners of 2 houses in our neighborhood, and by October 2009, my parents owed more on the mortgage of those 2 houses than the net worth of their market value. They filed for bankruptcy sometime after. Now in the present, I meet a college student in a Greek Orthodox coffee shop who tells me that she owns family stock in Southern Company, 30 shares. She even has a broker whose sole job is to hold her same percentage of ownership in the company as she liquidates a certain amount of her shares each semester to pay for rent. Historically, the Great Recession occurred between the months of December 2007 and June 2009. A perfect storm of cavalier hedge funds, meddling Federal Reserves, a global liquidity crisis set off by the timely bursting of the United States housing bubble. Or so YouTube economists tell me. The decreasing interest rates and ever-increasing property value of houses led my father to believe that he could buy a home and then buy a second one. The second one would be flipped or turned around for profit in a few years, after the property had a chance to accrue greater value. Yet, my father wasn't as brilliant as he thought. Many people took on this idea and began to invest heavily in property after the banks lowered their mortgage standards. Soon those low interest rates began to rise, and the property value began to drop, leaving only the mortgages. Perhaps my parents were as reckless as the hedge fund managers, or so YouTube economists tell me. I never inherited shares in a company like the community chess cards in Monopoly. I had the other kind of security. Liquidated government bonds thinly lined my savings account. The convenient afterthought of so many birthdays and Christmases and Easters and Labor Days. I told the coffee shop girl this, and she recoiled. She stated that she would never sell her shares in Southern Company. Not in bulk, at least. They were her family's, after all. I didn't understand her stance, just as she hadn't understood mine. Stocks and bonds, those were as sturdy as family to her, and just as predictable. I, on the other hand, learned early on that neither family nor money are certain. So why waste time investing and budgeting now when we'll inevitably lose it all in the future? You can't lose what you never cared about in the first place, my father once told me.